What's up? What's happening? It's Boston has entered the chat. I'm George Balekji. He's Ountae Campbell. We got the latest for you guys across all of sports. If you're listening, whether driving in your car or over at work and with your headphones in, please like, subscribe, rate, review wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime. Or also, you can watch us on Nesson's YouTube page, Nesson on Twitch, Nesson.com. Wherever you're watching, do the same. Subscribe, comment, join the chat. You could call into our hotline as well, 617-790-0928, or email us, thechat@Nesson.com. And we'll play your voicemails or read your emails right here on the show. Join the conversation. Tay, how we doing today, my man?
I'm doing so good, man. We've been talking a lot about the NFL around the office, so I'm excited to talk about this. I got some hot takes that I got to get off, man.
You've been working on them. Sunday brunch, working on the skillet. We got plenty to talk about. Celtics not caring about money. It's just not a thing to them. It's really the current ownership. That's really the Sam Hauser extension. We go through Pro Football Focus's top 10 players in the NFL. We'll rank our own top 10 as well. We'll talk most overrated players too. And we got more and all that and more right here on the chat. I want to start with what you're talking about, the excitement of the NFL. And I love this part of summer, right?
Yeah.
Baseball is really picking up. We're seeing how teams do out of the All-Star break. NBA in the midst of the Summer League, but right now getting ready for the Olympics is exciting.
Yeah.
You know what I love every Sunday? You know what I love to start my day with when it's not the NFL?
Uh-oh.
Formula One racing.
Yeah, bro. You got to tell me more about this Formula One stuff because I've been seeing it on my timeline. I'm not a huge fan like you, so I'm interested.
You've been seeing me blow up on a Sunday morning all of a sudden with my strings of tweets and thoughts.
Yep.
Look, last year we saw in Formula One racing, Max Verstappen absolutely dominate. It's been the last few years. But last year he won 19 of the 22 races on the calendar. That's absurd. And he's finished top 3 in 2 of the 3 that he didn't win.
Dang.
This year, it came out the same thing of Max Verstappen, the best racer in the fastest car with Red Bull, dominating the calendar. But the last 8 races, we've seen 6 different drivers win, 4 different teams win, with 2 separate first-time drivers win a Grand Prix.
Okay.
And we've seen the gap. It's either Max Verstappen comes out and dominates, and what's very likely, he'll win the World Drivers' Championship, which is what the individual drivers go for. Yep. Everything's on a point system. There's also the Constructors' Championship. The constructors of the car, if you get the most team points, you win that too.
Okay.
We saw Red Bull come out and absolutely dominate out of the gates. At one point, just about 5 races ago, have a lead on McLaren by almost 100 points. But the way McLaren has been finishing, especially today, it coming together with Oscar Piastri winning his first race, Lando Norris finishing second. There was drama there.
Yeah.
The lead on the points is down just to 51. And we've seen what McLaren has been able to do is outscore Red Bull in 7 of the last 8 races.
Damn.
So now they're closing that gap and catching up.
Okay.
I'm happy to see parity return to Formula One racing. We've seen Lewis Hamilton return to the podium the last 3 races. We saw him last race, British Grand Prix, win his first race since 2021 and on his home circuit. The last time he's racing in Silverstone as a Mercedes driver too. I just had to open up with that. You guys, if you've been following along on Ness, know how much I love Formula One racing. I had the experience of going to the Spanish Grand Prix, which is great, and that made me only grow my fandom for the sport. But to see it back where actual Sunday mornings are interesting again, I'm just saying there's something nice about a Formula One race, and I'll give you this. This is my pitch. This is my easy one for you.
Okay.
You wake up on a Sunday morning, getting your breakfast together, getting your coffee together. Race starts at 9.
Yeah.
It ends by 10:30, 11. You have the rest of your day.
Yeah.
That's like West Coast time when you're watching the NFL. 1 p.m. kickoff is really 10 a.m. for you in LA, and then you're done.
Okay, so when's the next race? Because I need to watch one now.
We got next weekend is the next race. Let me see. I'm going to pull up
I'm gonna tune in
the schedule right now.
I was also thinking while you were talking, like, what makes a good, like, construction of a car? You know what I mean? Like, how has Red Bull been able to dominate, Like, don't they all got the same trade secrets?
No, it boils down to there's aerodynamics, there's resources in this. Like, Ferrari, they employ like 1,500 people for the racing division that build these 2 cars. The same thing with McLaren, Red Bull, Mercedes, the big teams. So it's literally like how they see air, the aerodynamics, and then it's the tweaks of the cars, of the engine. It is, you have aeronautical engineers, you have guys that went to school and gals that went to school to build spaceships, and mechanics and engineers that build cars all coming together. Yeah. And you even have someone like you and me, you and I could be a part of Red Bull racing where our only role is to be in a simulator chair, drive the car, do the testings, and they take what we find and apply it to the actual racers on Sundays. So what makes a great car is you want to be fast around the turns, obviously fast on the straights, but there's so much more that goes into it than that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
Have you ever test drove an F1 car, or would you do it?
No. I've been in a very basic simulator.
Okay.
To test drive an F1 car, I just wanted to be in the back seat. You know, you could put 2 people in it.
Yeah.
And I looked at an actual F1 racer to go around and rip it.
Yeah.
The next one is the Circuit de Spa. So Spa is the Austrian Grand Prix. It's one of the prettiest courses you'll see.
Okay.
And that's set to start 9 a.m. next Sunday.
All right. Yeah.
So clock that in on your
9
calendar.
a.m. on Sunday. I'll be tuned in. Trust me. Don't worry about it.
And what this Formula One rounded out for me was a great weekend in basketball. Let's start with Team USA.
Yep.
For the WNBA, losing to the WNBA All-Stars 117-109. I know you were locked in on that. Arike Ngumbawale setting an All-Star record, 34 points, all in the second half.
Yeah.
And to me, it was cool seeing Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese play on the same team as well. Same team as Arike.
Yeah, I think my favorite parts of it, obviously, Arike, she's like a baby Kyrie. Like, she has all the moves in her bag. She's a little bit like Tatum, gets to the step back, but she actually puts it in every time. Every time she shoots it, I'm like, is she going to miss? It's crazy. You know what I mean? But you know what I loved? I just loved how they brought everybody into their culture, right? They showed who they are. They didn't try to be the NBA this weekend. They tried to be the WNBA, right? So they have at halftime switching up the jerseys. They take advantage of the fact that USA basketball happens in the summer, so they played a game with the top WNBA players who are not part of the USA team versus the USA team, which was a great event. We had Alicia Gray. She was fantastic in the All-Star weekend. She took home the skills championship and the three-point championship, which is crazy as a whole. And then obviously, I talked about it a little bit on Hold My Banner, but Cheryl Miller, just being able to see her, because she's a GOAT in this game, like her. And like, obviously people, they think about the Miller family, they think about Reggie and everything like that, but what she did at USC, what she did in her professional career, she's such a special talent, and I'm glad that she got an opportunity to lead this team. And really, I think she's probably the reason that Team WNBA won. So it was great to hear her speak. She's such a passionate just soul and just book full of knowledge, of basketball knowledge. So it was great to I was stealing some of the stuff that I'm going to teach my kids about basketball from Cheryl Miller. So I really appreciated seeing her this weekend.
What was her message to Arike? It was like, breathe, relax.
Yeah, she just told her, breathe, relax. You're the best player in this, in this game. Like, go show people. And she did. She only shot 2 shots in the first half. She made sure to put the world on notice in the second half and took home the MVP of the All-Star game. So can't complain about that message. A great one.
All the attention Caitlin Clark was getting as a snub for the Team USA. It's really Arike Ogunbowale. Been in the league, done her time.
Yep.
She'll be on the next one, but she's ready right now to be on that team.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see Caitlin Clark, 10 assists, no turnovers. First time in a professional game she has finished with 0 turnovers. But to see, like, without making a three, again, displaying her game where she's been a great passer since her time in college at Iowa. Full court on a fast break or playing in the half court, because she understands the attention she gets. And even the small moment of her driving in, getting double teamed, but then 6 eyes on her, dropping an easy pass to Angel Reese for the easy finish.
Yeah.
And then you see them high five, and it's like, all right, that's something that we will see in 2028 all come together. Big news for Boston, though. Sam Hauser and the Celtics agree 4-year, $45 million extension.
Woo.
That'll kick in the 2025-2026 season, and that will join when Jason Tatum Supermax starts, Jaylen Brown well into his Supermax, Drew Holiday and his extension starting, Derek White under payroll. Al Horford, we'll see if he's still playing basketball. But right now, the Celtics are projected to pay $225 million in payroll. And with that being above the second apron, which tops out $189.9 million, with that being above the second apron that much, $210 million in luxury tax for the 25-26 season. So the Celtics altogether are going to be playing $425 million just to put a team on the floor before they win any games, just to put a team out there. New NBA record. And that's life in the second apron is an actual hard cap in the NBA.
It's a lot of cabbage, man. It's a lot of cabbage. And the first thing that comes to my mind is Wick just trying to throw a whole bunch of money at this team because he's not going to have to spend it in 2 years. You know what I'm saying? They obviously had to lock down the best team in the NBA, honestly. You know what I mean? They had a lot of free agents this year, or guys that were close to free agency within the next couple years. So they obviously had to get their guy. They got Tatum. We knew they were going to spend the bag on him. But it is a little shocking that they're spending the bag on guys like Cornette, 1-year deal, whatever, who cares. But him, Hauser, Keita got a new deal. They're bringing back the young guys, the old guys. Everybody's getting paid. It's just kind of surprising to see, because usually you see, like with the Nuggets, you win a championship and then you start losing guys because guys are like, hey, I need to go get more opportunity, get paid. My light NBA is a narrative-based league, so the light that's shining on me is super bright right now. I gotta go and take advantage of that, because there's guys like Dennis Schroeder, who famously had huge light on him as a Laker, then had an opportunity to sign for some big money and, just didn't do it. So, you see it all the time where guys really try to bet on themselves and it doesn't work out or whatever. So it's kind of surprising to see the Celtics making all these money moves. But, hey, man, if it brings Boston another championship, I'm here for it.
That's what interests me. We see an ownership group that's about to not be here by the time they have to really pay all these contracts.
Right.
But them doubling down, going all in to repeat, which very difficult to do in the NBA. And they're capitalizing on, right now they're doing it before all these contracts add up. I was just surprised with a 1 year, around $3 million left on Sam Hauser, what he currently was under with this team, that all of a sudden where they're going to stop and already buy into that, where you could have kept your top 8 core together.
Yep.
Sam Hauser would have been there, and you wouldn't have to give him this extension. And again, you wouldn't have to pay this luxury tax number that we're going to see of $210 million.
Yeah.
That's what got me, is that right after drafting Baylor Shireman, who could step into Sam Hauser's role and possibly execute at the same level. There's no guarantee, because Hauser is great and Shireman's nothing more than a prospect.
Right.
But it surprised me, this move right now, and locking in to this luxury tax number.
Yeah.
Now, given, I think the first name we're going to see to go out of this core will be Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
He's going to be up there in age. He's going to be making around $35 million a year. They're going to see this tax penalty coming. And there's a repeater tax, too, where it's not the same rate you're paying this luxury tax penalty on.
Yeah.
But if that's what's happening for Drew Holiday and he goes, then you're going to have this money on Hauser. And again, you don't have to pay $210 million. But paying Hauser all this money is what adds to that. Now, given career 42% from three, one of the best guys, top 5 in the NBA for anyone that's attempted 400 or more threes.
Yeah.
One of the best catch and shoot 3-pointers shooters in the league too.
Yep.
I'm not doubting his ability, but when you look at the penalty you have to pay, I just don't get it. And I understand someone else is going to pay this team at this point. Still don't understand when you're trying to sell the team and it could hurt the value down the road.
Yeah, but my thing is, when I look at it, Hauser deserves this money. This is what the 8th man in the NBA roster is kind of going for. It's not really his fault that they have 2 max contracts on the books, and then 2 other guys making $30 million a year on top of that. You know what I mean? That's just kind of at the fault of the team that has been created. But once again, you would trade money for championships anytime. You know what I mean? If you could tell every NBA team, hey, you got to pay $200 million to win an NBA championship, they would sign up immediately. You know what I mean? So it is what it is in that situation. What caught me off guard a little bit is that you think Drew will be the first one to kind of walk from this team. I think it's going to be KP. I think Kristaps Porzingis is going to be the first guy they kind of let go, because they won essentially without him this year. You know what I mean? Not regular season, he was there, healthy, helped them out a lot to the 60-plus games that they won this past year. But in the playoffs, what did he play? 4, 5 games, you know what I mean? And even in the last game that he played, he wasn't Kristaps Porzingis. They didn't need him, you know what I mean? He was just out there being a body. So I have to say that I think it's going to be KP, but I wanted to get your thoughts. How many more championships do you think this team, this core group, can win together?
I can't doubt the injury luck they had to win that first ring as this core and this go. It's hard to say anything more than 2. I think they can repeat. I think they're still the best team in the NBA. And it's not like they had a tough road. And this isn't the knock and put an asterisk on their ring. Yeah. They ran through the regular season as the best team in the league. And then they ran through the playoffs. The entire playoffs, including the finals, as the best team in the league. So it wasn't as taxing of a championship run as you normally get. Right? Well, they played 19, 20 extra games.
Yeah.
That was it. Compared to some teams that need to win a ring, how many more? It can add 30 onto that.
For sure.
So that's why I think with this, I see him repeating, and it still is with Tatum and Brown not even at their peak, with Jrue Holiday still playing as the best defensive point guard in the league, and Derek White and all those guys buying in. But the one that could be tough is, how do your leaders, how do your best players treat this offseason? And it is like, do they approach it with the same hunger, with the same tenacity they had? Jaylen Brown, we saw super, super motivated by getting paid but still getting doubted. And after what happened last playoffs, and came back as a better player. I think this Team USA snub will add fuel to his fire, especially how it all went down. But Jason Tatum, what do? I know there's relief from both of their sides. But as a guy, now it's going to keep riding this victory lap with everything and all the attention. And you certainly should celebrate that first ring you got. How do you approach this upcoming offseason? So that's what type of player you're going to get from the Jays. How good are they going to be? That's the one I put on, but I give them winning 2 rings at this core. And then because of the second apron coming down, because of new ownership looming, stuff could change very fast for the Celtics. What about you?
I wanted to talk about that. I think Tatum is going to come in with a little fire coming into this season, at least going into the playoffs next year, because obviously it was a huge topic about his shooting performances, and people were saying that he was a backpack and all this other stuff, and I understand. You're going to curb some of those feelings when you win the championship, because it's going to be like a I hate the haters mentality, right? Like, I don't care what the haters have to say. I'm going to be me. What they going to say now, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But I think he is a competitor. He's gotten to this point because he's been a competitor. In high school, people didn't think he was going to be good. You know what I mean? When he went to Duke, people want to hate you because you're a Duke player. You know what I mean? Unless you're a Duke fan, you're a Duke hater, you know? So then you go to the Boston Celtics, who is easily the most hated team in the NBA. You know what I mean? So he's been hated all along the way, and I think this is going to just add to more fuel to the fire. And so I'm with you. I think this team probably has 2. I want to say 1. Because I don't know how I feel about them winning the championship this year, just because they do have a lot of guys playing in USA basketball this summer.
A lot of
and that
basketball.
can add a lot of basketball, and then they need rest on top of that, right? And there's a lot of travel going on with this USA basketball schedule right now. Obviously, we know they'll get to France and they'll relax a little bit while they're there, having days off in between games. But they obviously have went from wherever they're coming from. For Tatum, from Boston to from Dallas to Boston to Miami to Vegas to London to Abu Dhabi, you know what I mean, to France. It's a lot of travel going on in the last month or two for these guys, and so that makes me a little nervous with the wear and tear. Like you said, Drew's getting up there in age. Tatum's not a spring chicken anymore. He's 27, but he's not
young as hell. He's younger than you. You're young as hell to me.
He's not a spring, not just young beyond belief anymore. So obviously these miles start to add up eventually. And I just hope that, they don't get that lull at the beginning of the season, because they know what the end goal looks like. And positioning matters in the East especially, you know what I mean? With
the Knicks coming through. With the Sixers, we can say we want about Embiid, but getting Paul George is a big upgrade.
And the Bucks are going to be refocused. You don't think Giannis is coming back to try to claim another title? He's going to be different. Dame, once again, he's heard all the things. He hears it and he listens, and he hates, listening to the haters and hearing what the haters have to say about him. He's going to come to prove a point too in Milwaukee. So there's going to be teams that are vying for their spot. And if they end up as a 2, 3, 4 seed, it could be kind of nervous waters for them in the playoffs.
Yeah. When I said 2, I see them repeating. So I see it as this core getting 2 altogether.
Right.
So I see what you're saying. You see them getting 1 more.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.
Yeah.
And I got to say, I'm saying Jrue Holiday leaves first, because I think KP has 1 year left on his deal. I don't think he gets re-signed.
Yep.
He's going to be post 30 years old. They owe him $30 million this upcoming year. I think of those guys that are part of this core in the 25-26 season.
Yep.
Derek White, Jrue Holiday, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Peyton Pritchard's still under contract. He could easily be moved first. It's $6 million. That's a lot easier to move that contract than Drew's. And Sam Hauser.
Yep.
I just think Drew's the first one out because of the high dollar amount, and they look at his age, and that's when it could become part of it. But again, with this second apron, it makes it really hard to salary match, really hard to just shed salaries altogether.
Man.
I just think it's when you look at the age and the number, that's why they're going to go Jrue Holiday first to the core to leave. And it's tough because for Jrue Holiday, man, one of the all-time players in the league. I know I'm not saying overall top 10 guy, but was crucial to the ring with the Celtics, crucial to the ring with the Bucks. Can defend 1 through 5. when he's been in the league, always been one of the top defenders, regardless of position. And I think it's 6-time, maybe 7-time all defense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's not like the all-pro. He's not the all-star, the perennial all-star. But the value he brings to franchises that want to get rings, he's proven it twice and been the second or third best player, both on the Bucks or Celtics team. I just think down the road when these numbers start adding up and the new ownership comes in, they're going to be looking at this and going, how much are we paying?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly note, too, like the KP trade and the Drew Holiday addition.
Worth it.
They wouldn't have been able to happen though. If they were if the second apron
was
existed
now. Yes, great
in
point.
the NBA. So obviously this team is a great team, but they do have to be ready to give Tatum and Brown more in the future as well. Because like you said, you think it's Drew, I think it's KP. They're both going to be gone before Tatum and Brown are. And then if you want to be able to win a championship again, you're going to have to make those kind of additions. And the second apron really hinders you from doing that.
Its second apron is all these other teams in the league are looking at the Celtics and going, finally, there's relief. And they're even looking at owners like Steve Ballmer, though, and go, your time's up.
Yep.
You can pay all these players, and you had that window, which Clippers fantastically fell under, but that's how it goes. Hey, just a reminder, call in. Email us. You can email thechat@sn.com. You could call on in like Tay's doing, 617-790-0928. Let's pull up some of the tweets from the fans on the news of this Sam Hauser deal
Y'all the fam
going
too.
down.
Y'all the fam too.
Y'all fam, the fans that are fam. First from our boy Adam. Unlimited money glitch for the Celtics. I mean, that's the case right now. That's a case on, here's a credit card, swipe, 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 and then you leave it for someone else to pay.
Oh, what do these kids know about GTA, man? The limited money glitch? I missed that.
We're getting the second apron before we're getting GTA 6 dropping. All right, now on to Keegan Murray fan. I'm not going to say the full Twitter handle there, but you guys see it. The Celtics are money laundering how to F. How can they pay everyone? I didn't know how else to not say TF. How TF can they pay everyone? I think money laundering kind of makes sense.
It's the infinite money glitch.
It's the infinite money glitch. They're cleaning their money through what? They're probably cleaning their money through spots in the north end.
No. What's the chicken spot in what's that? Breaking Bad?
Oh, yeah. Los Hermanos chicken.
Los Hermanos chicken.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're doing it.
They'll throw up a Los Hermanos in the north end, right around the block. It's where they clean the money from. Finally, the bench warmer. Brad Stevens, after successfully re-signing all key pieces in his championship roster, pull up this tweet. There it is.
There it is.
Oh, next Celtics owner. Sorry, wrong tweet on this one. Yeah, checking the bill, closing out. Here we go. Brad Stevens, after successfully re-signing all the key pieces. Yeah, like Thanos saying it's done. What did it cost?
Funny.
Everything, but I've assembled it all. Now I can rest.
That is too funny, bro. I love that. I'm a huge Marvel fan, so that hits right home with me.
Brad Stevens is Thanos, and the Avengers Galaxy is just the rest of the NBA. He does not care who he's defeating. He's going through and ruining them all.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk some NFL now. PFF put out their top 10 players in the NFL. So, Tay, first I'm going to read it 10 through 1, all right?
Yep.
Top 10 players in the NFL. Number 10, Christian McCaffrey. Running back, and that's what's interesting in the world of the running back right now and their value.
Yep.
Saying he's the 10th best player.
Yep.
Number 9, Fred Warner. Again, interesting, an off-ball linebacker, let alone two 49ers. At 8 is Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
7, another 49er, Nick Bosa, defensive end. At 6, Chris Jones, defensive lineman.
Yep.
5, Micah Parsons.
Yep.
4th best, Justin Jefferson, a wide receiver. Number 3, Trent Williams, another 49er, best left tackle in the game. Number 2, Myles Garrett. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. I cannot argue with Patrick Mahomes being number 1.
Yep.
Even Myles Garrett too. That top 3 is tough to argue with.
Yeah.
But what an interesting breakdown of a top 10. And this is PFF going by their grades. And these are guys that pour themselves into film, watch every snap, grade it literally 0 to 100 per snap, average it out. That's what gives you the grades. Mahomes at 1, I get. Christian McCaffrey, he's not a running back. He is a weapon, can line up everywhere, do everything for an offense. So I like it at 10. But what do you think of this top 10 breakdown of the top 10 players in the league?
I like it. Well, am I willing to say that there's 4 49ers that should be in the top 10 players in the entire NFL? No, because I don't think that Kyle Shanahan's a bad coach. I don't think that Brock Purdy's a bad quarterback. So what's the problem? Why can't they win a Super Bowl then? If they have the top 4 of the top 10.
Number one.
4 of the top 10.
Number one's their problem.
So he's
you go back.
So he's better than wait, hold on. So Patrick Mahomes is better than by himself than 4 of the top 10 players in the NFL.
Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and that defense. You go back to the 2019-2020 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
When the Chiefs beat the Niners for their first ring. Jimmy Garoppolo missing throws. Defense can't close it out. And what does Patrick Mahomes do? Because PFF grades don't decide championships. It's players making plays and elevating their game. That's what Mahomes does.
Yeah.
If you go back to last Super Bowl, though, 2 great defenses, and I really think the impact of how healthy that Niners team was at that point without an all-pro safety in Hufanga. Dre Greenlaw goes down middle of the game. And say what you want, again, about an off-ball linebacker, changed completely how they're able to defend Patrick Mahomes. I don't put on Brock Purdy. I don't put on Kyle Shanahan. I don't put on these guys on the roster. It's just that Mahomes is that good and he's that inevitable, but also that Steve Spagnuolo defense was that great. But I get the point you're making, too. If I was to take a 49er off this list, it's hard not to have Nick Bosa. It's hard not to have Fred Warner because I think he's the best linebacker in the game.
Yeah.
But I think overall impact, what jumped out to me on this was there's one quarterback on this top 10 list.
Yeah.
And who are the highest paid players in the league? Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff. One quarterback in this top 10. So I get the point you make about the 49ers. But I would go different about this order, though.
Yeah, I mean, the quarterback thing is like, so next on their list at 12, they have Josh Allen. So do you think he's a top 10 player in this league?
Certainly. What he does to elevate that Buffalo Bills franchise. Yeah, I know, right? What's it?
I don't know.
No. 5-5 record in the playoffs. 21 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. End of the day, quarterback could take care of the football but making plays. 100 passer rating. And why did they lose to the Chiefs to get to the Super Bowl and not make it, to not advance in the playoffs? Everyone's knocking Josh Allen for missing a throw to Stephon Diggs 60 yards downfield when Chris Jones is in his lap. I put that on. You have Sean McDermott, a defensive-minded head coach, leading your team, defense never being ready. And given that was an older defense that was banged up as well, but that was also a depleted, not healthy Buffalo Bills roster. I don't put it all on Josh Allen. We'll go through and we'll draft this. But I think Josh Allen should be in that top 10. Then I think of who would you boot out? I would boot out a Christian McCaffrey. I'll put Josh Allen in there because his impact and what he does is massive for this team.
I don't know. CMC was the cover of Madden for a reason. He's a special player. I don't know if I'm kicking him out for Josh Allen. I think the impact that he has on his team, when you look at the receivers and all this other stuff, like, he just came in and made the 49ers a real Super Bowl contender. You know, they went from a team that was good in the good in the regular season, not much better in the playoffs, right? Then they make the trade for him to get him from Carolina, and they instantly go to like one of the favorites every single year to win the Super Bowl. So I think CMC's effect on his team, I don't know. We got to see about Josh Allen. I obviously think he's a really great player, but I want to see what he is without Stephon Diggs.
I think it's also the maturation and the timing of, yes, you go out and get a Christian McCaffrey and he upgrades this overall offense, but it's also Brock Purdy figuring himself out and taking on that offense. Kyle Shanahan knowing what he has in him. And it's also, you have Christian McCaffrey in an offensive room with an all-pro left tackle, Trent Williams, all-pro tight end, George Kittle, all-pro caliber receiver, Brandon Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel. It's just so rich with talent how they were able to draft, where they drafted a Kittle, Deebo, Ayuk. They drafted and saw Brock Purdy in the 7th round. They traded for a Christian McCaffrey. They get Trent Williams. That Christian McCaffrey's great. This offensive system is great with the proper quarterback to run it. And again, when I'm looking at this team as a whole of like who I would boot out, this Bills team doesn't get as far as they do without Josh Allen, the dynamic player he is.
Yeah.
But I think that's what's fascinating about this list because it's players that we grade and then we're combining it with our eyes. So let's get in and draft our top 10 then.
Of course. Go ahead. I want you to take the first pick.
You're not going to hate my first pick.
Okay.
Number 1 overall, and we'll switch off. We'll come to our top 10. My number 1 overall is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
He's the best player in the league. There's a reason that the Niners and everything we see happening with Brandon Ayuk trying to trade his way out of there, which I think is nuts. The only reason the 49ers aren't the favorite to win a Super Bowl is because Patrick Mahomes exists.
Yeah.
But you look at their roster and they're the best. Mahomes is that good. He's that clutch. He makes all the plays you need to.
Yeah.
And he drives an offense, and he's won his last 2 Super Bowls back-to-back. Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Mecole Hardman, Juju Smith-Schuster as his top Wide receivers. Yes, I know Travis Kelce is there. But in this list where we don't argue the wide receivers on it, Mahomes, you just need him. You need Andy Reid. And now it's Steve Spagnuolo's done with that defense to make him great. But Mahomes, to me, number one, no doubt.
Yeah, I think I love Mahomes at 1. If there were an argument for somebody else at 1, it'd be this guy, and it's Myles Garrett. I got to go with him out of Cleveland. 89 pressures last year and 15 sacks with not many other pass rushers around him on that team, on that defense. Him still getting to the quarterback, seeing double, triples, whatever the offensive coordinator can throw at him to stop him from getting the quarterback, and he still had 15 sacks. Mm-hmm. It's an offensive league. We know that right now in the NFL. It's a pass, free-flowing offense, guys spacing it out, running the routes underneath, doing whatever, getting the ball out quick. That's the NFL right now, right? For a guy who can get to the quarterback and get to the quarterback as quickly when everybody in the world knows you're the guy, he's got to be at least number 2 on this list.
I like that, and I think he's definitely aided by the corners behind him, Newsome, Ward, Jeremiah Usu-Koramoah as an off-ball linebacker who's just crazy fast too. But Myles Garrett, no doubt about it, is the best D end in the game. Mm-hmm. And we see so much in the trenches on this top 10 list, and it's a reflection on what's valuable to teams. Mm-hmm. Number 3, he's only moving one spot, but I like that Myles Garrett ad. For me, number 3 in this top 10, I give it to Josh Allen. I give it to Justin Jefferson.
Okay, I was about to say, you shooting
see, I have Josh Allen on my list. I go Justin Jefferson because this is a guy banged up, healthy, Kirk Cousins or not, 100 yards a game, best receiver in football by far, and he could change the whole dynamic of an offense. And he walks in there, and it's just no problem for him what he averages and his entire skill set where he could stress the defense seriously just on his own. It's interesting to see how does he play with either Sam Darnold or J.J. McCarthy being his guy. But I have full faith in him as the best receiver in the league, and he alone can take an offense to the next level. You take him away from Minnesota and leave Kirk, they look vastly different. But you leave him in Minnesota without Kirk, I think it's going to be the same production you see from him and how much he stresses defenses.
Yeah, I hope that we can see somebody get the ball to him, man, because he's a special talent. That's one of my things. I hate watching prime receivers
get wasted
away in these terrible situations. So hopefully Minnesota can figure out the quarterback situation quickly and get this man the ball, because I need to see some gritty in this year. But all right, you got him at 3. At 4, I got to take another defensive lineman, and you're going to just think I love the ends, but I mean, they are important to winning a championship, and they get to the quarterback fast. Another guy who gets to the quarterback fast from a team I know everybody hates, the Dallas Cowboys, Micah Parsons. I got to take him here at the 4th spot. I think he's the 4th best player in the league.
It's even, you could argue he's the best defensive player in the league, but we both took Myles after just going with the pure defensive end. Yeah. You can flip-flop him. What he can do pass rush, how fast, athletic, twitchy he is. Mm-hmm. And this is a guy, though, with versatility. He came in, and it was a wonder of where he's going to play coming out of Penn State. And he could line up as a middle linebacker, off ball, rush up the middle. Mm-hmm. He's best on the edge. And again, he's just an absolute game wrecker at his spot on the outside, so he could take over. I like that Micah Parsons pick. Yep. Now I come in at 5, and I'm going to go with it. I'm going with the second best quarterback in the NFL. I'm going Josh Allen on this one.
Oh my God.
The threat he is with his legs, what the threat he is with his arm. And again, everyone's going to knock what happens to him in the playoffs and how he falls short. It's bigger than him. And the same of when I'm mentioning how great Patrick Mahomes is, but I bring in his surrounding situation with the assistants, with who his head coach is. With Josh Allen and I just don't trust Sean McDermott in that spot. And the defense that he's been given and his playoff blunders, missing that throw to Stephon Diggs, that's Chris Jones making a great play. Before that, it's Patrick Mahomes getting the ball in overtime and making what happens, and before the rules came in, to close out a game. Josh Allen, to me, no doubt about it, he's a top 5 player in the league.
I'm not willing to say that he's a top 5 player in the league. I think that his turnovers just are huge. I think that's the job of the quarterback, right? Is to obviously score points. Can't score points if you keep giving the ball to the defense.
4 interceptions in the playoffs, though. 6 total turnovers in the playoffs in his career, too. 10 games.
Yeah, but it's not just we're not just talking about playoff players. We're talking about best players, right? And when you put yourself in position to be in these playoff games that you necessarily shouldn't be in, because they should have better positioning in a lot of these games that they have, but they lose games in the regular season because he's over here being overzealous, trying to make plays that he shouldn't be trying to make. He has all the tools, right? Mm-hmm. Huge arm, fast, strong. He's freaking steel-headed. He'll run through a wall for you. All of the great things. Great leader and all that other stuff. But, dude, stop turning the ball over, bro. Like, I hate seeing turnovers from a quarterback, especially a guy with all the tools who can make any play. Don't succumb yourself to trying to make the home run play every single time. Sometimes you got to just throw the ball out of bounds, and he's got to learn that as he continues to grow. I think he's a great player. Top 5, I'm not willing to say it just yet. At 6, though, I got to take another defensive end, and you're going to hate me, but this is finally the first 49er coming off of our list. I got to take Nick Bosa. I think that he has done a fantastic job for this 49ers defense. Obviously, we talked about Fred Warner and how he should be a top 10 player in the league as well. This defense has a lot of great spots, but he just really gets to the quarterback extremely well. I can't leave him off of this list and put him any lower, so I got to put him at 6.
All right, I like that. I'm following up with a defensive lineman, 7th best in the league. I'm going to go Dexter Lawrence. Now, you would think first interior defensive lineman off the list to be on this one would be Chris Jones, but Dexter Lawrence, fantastic pass rusher up the middle, great disruptor in the run game as well, and you can build the whole defense around him. He's undervalued because he's in the Giants team that's struggling and honestly gets overshadowed by how bad Daniel Jones is. Yeah. But what they're building with that core there, I think Dexter Lawrence is one of the best, if not the best defensive tackle in the game, so that's why I put him here.
Yeah, I like that. All right, I got to go, where are we at, 8 spot? I got to go Chris Jones.
Yeah, it's fine.
I need him here. I think he's done a great job getting to the quarterback as well. A lot of pressures. Yeah, I mean, there has to be another chief on this team, so I'm taking Chris Jones.
For 9, and we haven't mentioned this position yet, but I'm going to go Tristan Wirfs with the Buccaneers. Moved from right tackle to left tackle. People question it. Still plays at an all-pro level. He's one of the best tackles in the game. And I also think when I'm going top 10 in the league, I'm thinking value, what their age is, how young they are.
Yep.
Same thing, Tristan Wirfs. He's so young, only been in the league for a few years. He's going to be a great left tackle for years to come, so I go Wirfs at that 9 spot.
Yeah, I'm going to take another quarterback because I know that we haven't had the opportunity to show a lot of love to the quarterbacks in the top 10. You took one a little earlier than I thought. I got to go with a guy who's just video game numbers, Lamar Jackson. I don't know how you leave him off of this list based off of the year that he had. Yeah, the playoffs, he stunk it up just a little bit. Well, the team stunk it up, and he stunk it up just a little bit as well.
Continually be bad in the playoffs. That's actually a quarterback with the playoff struggles. You like the regular season. It's fine. You're a Chargers fan. That's all you watch.
All right. My team doesn't need to catch strays. They already caught enough strays. None of them in the top 50 from PFF. So.
None in the top 50? Not even Herbert or Rashawn Slater. All right. So you think I overrate Josh Allen. And that's perfect because ESPN put out an overrated players survey. They surveyed league executives, coaches, and scouts to make a top 10 cornerback list. One of the highest rated NFL personnel evaluators called Jets cornerback Sauce Gardner one of the most overrated players in the league, and that you can call him holding on every play. Let's start with this Sauce slander, which I think Sauce is the best cornerback in the league.
Yep.
And if you're going to go with, well, he's overrated, you could call him holding any play. You call that on every offensive tackle on every play. You call that on probably every corner every play.
Yep.
It's all about gamesmanship and what you get away with and what the refs let you do and lets them play. I think Sauce is the best. I don't think he's overrated at all.
No, I don't think he's overrated either. I think there's a reason they don't throw the football over there anytime he's in the game.
Oh, interesting.
He's like Revis Island. You could put him over there by himself, and you know that whole side of the field is shut down. He has the instincts to make plays away from his route and his coverage. So I just love watching Sauce. I think he's an amazing football player. Saying that he's overrated is just blasphemous. Honestly, it's just hating.
Who would you go with most overrated players in the NFL?
Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts.
No.
No.
And I'm a Kyle Pitts fan.
You're a huge.
But he hasn't done anything but people are coming around like Kyle Pitts sucks because he hasn't done anything.
No, because you know why I say this is because growing up playing fantasy football, I see this from a fantasy football perspective because this is where
that's the one you draft and you wait on. Yeah,
right. This is where people really start to overrate players, and Kyle Pitts comes up every single year.
Yep.
Oh, he's got to be the second tight end off the board. He's always like a first or second round type of guy, and then he goes out there and he gets freaking 4 catches and 32 yards and no touchdowns.
Yep, goose eggs.
And everyone's like, oh, he sucks, and then, it's a quarterback, blah, blah, blah. No, bro. I watch Kyle Pitts. I watch a lot of him play. I've been to Atlanta Falcons games, and I watched him play up close and personal. Well, I had a friend who used to play on the Falcons.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I've been I've been to Atlanta Falcons games, and I've seen this guy with my own 2 eyes. He cannot get open in the NFL. Highest draft pick for a tight end in NFL history at 4.
Yep.
And he can't get open?
Yeah, you can't get separation.
No, he's terrible. And he's one of the most athletic tight ends in NFL history.
That's the thing. He's a receiver, basically. I'm excited to see him with Kirk Cousins. Not Marcus Mariota, not Desmond Ridder. I'm excited to see him with an actual quarterback, and we'll revisit this. But I understand it. I was just like intrigued, like a guy from LA living in Boston. And you were like, I went to Atlanta Falcons games. I'm like, you like Atlanta a lot, huh? Well, what's the place with the good wings? Magic City.
Magic City. Yeah.
I want to try those wings one day.
Yeah, the Lou Will special, man.
Yeah.
Get the Lou Will special.
I looked at paychecks.
Yeah.
And it's fair, but everyone knows he sucks now. Everyone knows he sucks. Deshaun Watson's overrated, though. Because even if there is that small combo out there of like he's coming around, he's finally playing good, that guy, height of his powers, I'm talking on the field, was top 5, top 3 at the position quarterback. Right now, you're paying him $63 million a year AAV. He is terrible. So I put Deshaun there. I put Dak Prescott there, $55 million a year. And again, the same thing of Cowboys are going to pay the tax. Stop. Cowboys are going to pay the tax of either you have a quarterback or you don't. Dak Prescott's way overrated. But again, everyone knows he sucks.
Yeah.
But you go into Dallas and it's weird, the conversation around Dak.
On the field, bro.
I didn't mean it like that. I mean, whenever I talk about Deshaun, because I'm saying when he was in Houston, he was top 5 at being quarterback. He's top 5 worst humans ever to play in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
So let me recover with that.
We are not team Deshaun Watson
no, he
over
sucks.
here. I wouldn't say overrated just because he gets paid. Like, he got paid when he was good.
But he got paid over 700 days after playing football for the last time.
This is true.
So he was overrated coming in. People like it's Deshaun, and people are still waiting, and I think that ship is sailed.
Yeah, it was a desperate Cleveland team, as we talked about with Myles Garrett. They need help. You know what I mean? They need help, especially then when they got him. They needed help in a lot of areas. We didn't know who was playing quarterback for them.
Doesn't even matter.
Brissett or something like that. You know,
But it's also that you have a Deshaun Watson come in. He hasn't played football in 700 days, and I understand what his ceiling is. Yeah. But the Haslams being idiots of, all right, but you haven't played football. We don't know when you're going to pay. We're not going to give you this $233 million contract. So the overration is there too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you with the Dak comments. It's just like Deshaun Watson. No one's over here looking like, oh, Deshaun Watson is leading us to the promised land.
I'm looking at checkbooks.
Oh, my God.
There's someone that overrated him. You looked at it from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it from the ownership perspective.
For sure. Yeah. From a fantasy perspective, I'm sure he's overrated because it's like, well, they got to score points, right? They have great receivers in their roster and stuff like that, running backs. So you would think that he would be good from a fantasy perspective, but then whatever, he gets hurt.
Another one I give, it's quick, and it's not to crap on the guy that likes to see his career get reborn, but Baker Mayfield overrated in my opinion. Dave Canales out of Tampa. I'm interested how Baker plays now without Dave Canales, because we saw what happened to Geno Smith.
Yeah.
Baker was great in Tampa. Dave Canales is a head coach for a reason. I think he's going to be overrated going into this season. Yeah. People expecting the same, and you're just not going to get that from Baker.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say overrated in the fact that people are going to have high expectations for him this year, and he's not going to live up to those.
Exactly. That's Sauce Gardner overrated, though, because think about the top at their position.
Yeah.
Mahomes is the best. Justin Jefferson's the best. Thinking of the best at their position, Trent Williams, Rashawn Slater, Tristan Wirfs, worthy of it. Christian McCaffrey, not overrated. Going the cornerback side, Pat Surtain, Sauce Gardner. In the safeties, Kyle Hamilton, Antoine Winfield Jr., not overrated at all. Off-ball linebacker, Fred Warner, worthy of it. Tight end is the one that could be a question. Is it still Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
Is it going to be a Sam Laporta? Like at this point, Travis Kelce could be overrated. But
yeah, I'm just glad you didn't say Justin Herbert. Cause
I love Herbert.
If you would have said Herbert, we'd have had to fight.
I'm excited. First off, you'd kick my ass. Second off, I'm excited to see Justin Herbert without Brandon Staley running the show.
I'm excited to see if Quentin Johnson can catch a football to save his life.
Don't get excited for that. That's overrated. Quentin Johnson. You won't see that. Hey, that's it for Boston Has Entered the Chat. Thank you so much for listening along. Wherever you get your podcasts, please like, subscribe, rate, and review. I'm Georgia Balekji. He's Ountae Campbell. This was Boston Has Entered the Chat inside the PNC Bank studio. Make sure to like, subscribe, rate, review wherever you get your podcast. As always, new episodes dropping every Monday through Friday. We'll see you guys then.